Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is, what's today? Tuesday. Or today's Tuesday? No, today's Wednesday. Wednesday, October 29th, 6:27 right now. Um, sorry, there's a lot of like moving pieces today. I had to like add on a bunch of hedge fund clients and answer questions and all this and that and the other. But yeah, guys, we're ready to go. So today is Wednesday. October 29th. It is 6:27. We got market opening up in about 3 minutes. My first entry today is not until 6:46. Same entry as yesterday, so we'll be looking for that. Here's my list for the day. Let me just kind of make some space here for this. If you guys are looking to take the breakout, I'll identify the direction here shortly. Um, just gonna clean this up a little bit so it's easier to see. Yeah, as you guys can see, very similar entries to yesterday. Not all the same, but for the most part, a lot of them are very similar. There's like maybe like four different ones that kind of swapped out due to the probabilities. But yeah, if you guys are looking to take the breakout today on open, I'm not taking it, of course, but the one on open over here looks like it should be going against momentum. Has a 70.59% probability overall, both directions, either way. For a 1 to 2, has a 66.67% probability for buys and 75% probability for sells. So, with that being the case right there, let's see. I guess I can put the numbers in here to kind of take a look. Of course, it's supposed to be against momentum. Yeah, so the numbers are pretty good. I mean, overall, the numbers are good for the breakout over here. If you guys are looking to take it, of course, obviously you guys know I'm not looking to take it, but if you guys are, looks like it's going to be a sell entry. So sell entry over here. I want to check that 614 entry. Did that one hit? Let's see. And let's see who's here so far. Morning Alad, morning Ryan, morning Ed, morning Maria, morning Daniel, morning Michael, morning everybody. We got market opening up shortly in about 20 seconds. So if you guys are looking to take the breakout here on open 629 entry, it's going to be a sell. Let's see over here real quick on the actual breakout chart. So the regular breakout's actually going to be a buy. So it's kind of tricky when these entries kind of come up, opposite of each other. So if you guys are looking to take it, I mean, feel free. But like I said, these entries are kind of coming up opposite of you. And there we go. Huge, huge sell right there. Like I said, the entry right there is for a sell. This thing spiked all the way down if you guys caught that. This is why I don't take this entry, right? This entry is really, really tricky because of, the obvious reasons. You get a lot of manipulation here on open. So the entry right here at 729, you can see it was a win. It was against momentum. So obviously we had a buy momentum here. It had a 75% probability of it winning, or 77 now because it won again right here. And yeah, big spike right there, straight to target. So if anybody took that entry right there, I'm kind of curious to see the 614 entry now. This one over here also looks like it hit. So I'm looking at the entries for today on my list, guys. The 614 entry also hit. So over here, it had a 52.94% probability of winning, 71.43% probability for a buy. It was against momentum. So this entry over here, you can see 614, it was a sell signal, so you would have taken the buy. This here also, or actually no, it didn't push up enough because the volatility is too low. So I stopped taking trades pre-market because of this specific reason. Volatility is just a little too low. So that one over there obviously didn't play through. I'm gonna just obviously we're not taking the pre-market or the opening candle here, but it looks like Rashida here caught it and she took win on that one. Nice work, Rashida. Hey Justin, morning, morning Sam, morning Masish. Yeah, Masish. Good morning, everyone. Everyone wasn't able to make it last couple of meetings, but happy to be here today. Yeah, definitely glad to have you here with us, bro. I noticed you weren't here past couple of days. Monday was pretty choppy, so it wasn't like the best day anyways. Yesterday was pretty solid. We took one trade, and right here goes the first trade again. So you guys see here the market manipulation. This is why I don't like trading on open because it's so crazy, right? Look at this big dump to the downside. huge jump to the downside for about 80 points, and then a huge correction right after for 100 points, right? 120 points. This is why I try to stay away from the open. With the algo entries, you want to stay away from market manipulation, and you want to stay away from markets that are unpredictable, right? Like right now, there's just so much going on here that it's very unpredictable as to like where price is going to go. We'll take a look at like the overall direction so we can have some sort of technical bias for those of you who are looking for technicals. But for the most part, I'm not having any entries here until 6:46. So we got some time, about like a little over 10 minutes before my entry comes up right here. So with that being the case, I'm going to go ahead and change these settings over here to 6:46 because that's what I'm going to be looking for. And if the market keeps moving extremely volatile like this, I'm not looking to take anything here, right? I'm just going to be sitting tight and waiting for, the market to kind of calm down a bit before I get into these positions. Hey, Lamar, morning. But okay, let's check the news for today real quick. So for today, we have medium impact news at 7 o'clock. It's pending home sales, so that's going to be the it's not going to be crazy, but it's going to be medium impact. Then we have gas stock change. This happens every Wednesday, so it's not a big deal. Um, Here's the big news. The big news is at 11 o'clock, we have the Fed interest rate decision. I wasn't sure if this was going to happen because of the government shutdown, but it looks like it's probably going to happen today. This is going to be pretty big because it could be a surprise or it can just be normal, right? Because the thing is, they're pretty split across who's agreeing to drop the interest rate even more. If you guys remember last month, they dropped it 25, like basically a quarter, and they're calling for another drop for this month, possibly. I don't think it's going to happen though. For me personally, I don't think it's going to happen because the government shutdown, plus there's just a lot of other things happening behind the scenes where it just doesn't make sense to have so many cuts right away. I think if anything, there may be one more cut. Actually, no, I take that back. The cut would have to happen this month because there's usually no cuts in November or December. So today's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, not during the live session time, but later on, it's going to be pretty interesting, like at 11, because it just kind of depends on how this happens. I wasn't expecting another cut for this year. I thought just one cut was going to happen, but they've been kind of going back and forth about calling for a cut. But if it doesn't happen this month, it's probably not going to happen for the rest of the year. It's probably going to happen next year, but we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff happening around the world, of course, right? A lot of stuff that people aren't paying attention to. Like people are so everyone's kind of focusing on different things, right? There's a war in Israel. There's the war in Ukraine that everybody forgot about. That's still happening. It's crazy that people forgot about that because that's like there's so many people dying in Ukraine. Um, and it's not even really televised anymore. You have to know some Ukrainians to like really know that that's going on because they obviously share about it. And I have a couple of friends that are Ukrainian, and they do post about it like every day. So it's still going on, and it's still pretty crazy. The other thing is the tariffs. The other thing is inflation. The other thing is government shutdown. There's like five things happening behind the scenes that are kind of colliding with each other. So, it's and then today everyone's going to be talking about the interest rate cuts, right? That may happen. So there's just a lot of things happening, a lot of distractions. Uh, and I think a lot of people are expecting it, but I don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I don't think a cut's going to happen today, but we'll see. It doesn't really affect us since we don't trade news, but we'll uh we'll kind of see what happens when it happens later today at 11. Yeah, Masij said, and yet markets are still at an all-time high. I know. It's crazy, right? Someone was talking to me about that yesterday. Manny, if you're on here right now, Manny was just mentioning that. He was like, "What do you think is going to happen?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't know because the market shouldn't be hitting all-time highs with everything that's going on, but we're still hitting all-time highs every day. It's just crazy. It doesn't make any sense, like with regard to the fundamentals, because the economy is not good. Inflation's high. I mean, what's it called? Amazon just announced that they're going to fire like 1,000 people of corporate. That's, it's crazy. It's There's a lot of stuff happening that just doesn't make sense. So for me, I don't really follow fundamentals as much. I kind of just see what happens. Like, how does the market react to the news? Yeah, Masich, the bubble might pop. We just don't know when. See, the thing is, we've been waiting for that bubble to pop for like 5 years now. I think since COVID, we've been waiting for the market to crash. and it just never really crashed. I mean, it came down for a bit during COVID, and then it came right back up. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, we had that black swan event on Friday where it spiked down, like 500 points, and it came right back up. Um, it's crazy. It's just a lot of it's a circus basically. The world's a circus right now with everything that's going on. It's it's not just the US anymore. For a while, US used to be a circus because of Trump, but it's kind of everywhere now, honestly. There's a lot of stuff going on everywhere. Obviously Trump's the ringleader, but we'll just have to wait and see. So what I recommend, guys, is don't be too worried about any of that stuff, right? Because we're day traders, so we don't really care about what's happening like 4 days from now or 4 years from now. We just care what's happening right here, right now. So yeah, unless you guys are long-term investors, then nothing to worry about. Exactly. Stern said exactly. Bubble is the news, not the rumor. Follow the money. Exactly, Stern. Follow the probabilities, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Because the thing is, like, the data is going to show where the money's going. And that's why we're going to keep following the probabilities and kind of just, lead us to the proper direction versus being scared with all the news events. Daniel said, I'm not too sure if they even have a choice anymore. They have to cut rates to refinance our debt at lower rate, even if inflation goes back up. Yeah, and I agree with you too, Daniel. That's why it's like everyone's split, right? Because everybody knows that the rates need to be cut, but it's just going to put us in it's going to make things worse. But people always mention that like things have to get worse before things get better. So, they might have another cut and we might get to that tipping point where a recession may start and then we're going to recover from there, of course. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, I don't really have a say in it because I don't really care what's happening long term. I care what's happening right here, right now. Let's see. CJ said a whole lot going on. Target let go of 1,800 people in their corporate offices, 25 states, and DC is suing the Trump administration, and killer monkeys escaped in Mississippi. That's just this week. Yeah, Daniel said that's how Planet of the Apes starts. I know, right? It's crazy. You guys seen Planet of the Apes? It was pretty. The first one is good. The other one's really kind of okay, but the first one was pretty good. All right, guys. So we got the next trade coming up right here at 646. It's going to be against momentum. It has a 58.82% probability for either a buy or a sell. For a 1 to 2, it's one of my target entries. 80% probability for a win with a sell. You can see over here it's won 8 out of the previous 10 entries. So for the 646 entry, I'll be looking for a possible sell possibility here. If it doesn't come up for a sell, then I'm just going to kind of sit out on it. What I'm going to be waiting for here is I'm looking for a market to kind of slow down a little bit. I want it to slow down, volatility to kind of flatten out, and then turn around the other way. If we don't get that, it's completely fine. I'm not forcing anything here. I have other entries here to look for anyway. So if that one doesn't come up, I have another one at 653 and I have one at 654. Preferably, I'd like to go with momentum. So if this one doesn't come up or if it doesn't look good, I'm not going to feel tempted to get into it. But let's take a look at the overall market structure real quick and the trend. So let's go over here to our main trend chart. Looking at our main trend chart over here, you can see that the 1 minute is currently above the pivots. The trend meter is green, pivots are angling up. We have the same thing over here on the 5 minute. Price is above the pivots, trend meter is green, pivots are angling up. Same on the 15, same on the 30, same on the 1 hour, same on the 4 hour, right? So this indicates that we are in an overall bullish trend with regard to the lower time frames and with regard to the higher time frames. So obviously buys here are going to be the preferred direction of trade if you're trading technicals. Now looking over here at the market structure, we have a bit of the same thing, right? If you look down here, the 5 minute, 15, 30 minute, and 4 hour, they're all bullish, right? You can see price is very strong on the bullish side. The 1 minute's neutral and the 1 hour is neutral. So with that being the case, I mean, it shows that we're obviously in a very strong bullish trend and bullish market structure. So if you guys are looking at technicals, obviously you want to look for buys here. I'm not looking at technicals. I don't really care about it too much, so I'm not looking for that. However, if you guys are trading technicals or if that's, one of your main concern, then yes, you'll be looking for possible buys there. I have market structure right here. It's kind of relevant because price is so far above, but I will still mark it up just for reference. Yeah, so I'll still mark up market structure here just for reference, of course, just so that you guys can kind of see where price pushed up from and um and where we're currently at because we're pretty far up now. I'm not expecting price to come back and retest these lows, but it's good to see where price kind of, you know, made its push from. Cool. So we got some consolidation right here. Price pushed up. Uh, we got a resistance turn support right here. I'm just marking at whatever structure I could find because it's so far up right now. And then I think there's an imbalance right here. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this is an imbalance. And there's two imbalances right here. For those of you who like to trade, fair value gaps or whatever. All right. So we got two imbalances right there. I mean, price hasn't retested yet, but that is the area of imbalance. So this is kind of the market structure right now. As you guys can see, it's pretty far up. Um, let's kind of leave it like this for now so you guys can kind of have an idea. It's not too far, not too close. So yeah, looking at this right here, we have price climbing up still. If you look at the overall trend, price is super, super bullish. Looking over here at the market structure, it's super bullish as well. It's pretty much bullish on all the time frames except the 1 minute, which is neutral right now, which is probably going to switch to bullish if price ends up closing above this structure here. It might be a change of character if price continues to push up higher. Again, I'm not trading technical, so I don't really care about this stuff. Looking at my algo entry for today, like I mentioned, I was looking for price to slow down a little bit, right? It's not slowing down here, so I don't think I'm going to take that entry for 646 because the thing is that I want to go against the momentum or the direction. Right now, the momentum is very strong for a push to the upside. The 646 entries is identifying a possible reversal, but in order for that reversal to happen, you need price to slow down, right? Which it's not really slowing down here. So if you guys want to take it, I mean, feel free to take it. I will identify it and we'll follow it, but I'm not going to be getting into the position. I'll be looking for the next one, which would be closer to 653, which is going to be with momentum. So, but again, I also don't want to get in where it's overextended, right? The momentum here is good, but I think it's due for retracement or reversal. This thing's pushed up. Let's see. Yeah, it's 200 points to the upside. Crazy, crazy bullish move here on open, like crazy spike to the downside and then push up to wipe people out. So I'm playing it safe, no need for me to really force anything here. Yeah, Stern said Nvidia market cap, Apple market cap, Alphabet, Oracle. I know the market cap is crazy. Like you guys saw that deal with Nvidia, right? They're like partnering with Palantir. It's nuts. It's like all these companies are going to keep getting pushed higher and higher and higher, and it's like, where does it stop? Okay, so price is turning right here. It's starting to kind of flatten out. So this intro here is going to be for a sell. If you guys want to take this, I mean, feel free to take it at your own risk, guys. I'm not taking it because the market here didn't really slow down as much as I needed to for me to want to get into this position. So I was looking for it to kind of flatten out here for a little bit and then roll back down. But we didn't really have that here. So if you guys want to take this entry, the 646 is going to be here after this candle closes. Again, it has a 58.82% probability overall. It won 10 out of the previous 17 entries. And the sells over here have an 80% probability of it winning. It won 8 out of the previous 10 entries. So only 2 losses for sells. The thing is, it doesn't give you like you're never going to be 100%, but it does give you a pretty good probability of it winning here for a sell. You would be taking a pretty big risk though, because like I said, the market here didn't really slow down very much. It kind of just kept pushing up. So you don't want to get in at, the opposite of a falling dagger, right? You guys have heard of that. I mentioned that yesterday. There's this term, it's called falling dagger. It's like you don't want to take a sell when price is coming down sharply, right? Because you're kind of putting your hand out there. It's like a knife going through your hand and you're kind of waiting for it to stop. But it doesn't stop, right? Same thing goes in the opposite direction here. Price is climbing up so strongly that you don't want to put your stop there because you're going to get stopped out. So that's the reason why I skipped that trade there. It's a good thing I did because the trade would have lost. It's just an opposite of a falling dagger. I don't know what the opposite is for the other direction. I forget what people call it, but I wouldn't get in the way of, a bull basically. Because bulls go up, bears go down. You don't want to get in the way of a raging bull, basically, in a sense, because it's going up so strong, and you're going to get caught in its horns, right? That's like the whole gist of it. Um, so yeah, I didn't take that entry right there at 646. The next entry is going to be right here at 653. Here's the problem. The 653 entry is so we're still looking for buy here, right? 653, 654. We're looking for a buy here. The main issue with this is that, like I mentioned, price is overextended. This thing is pushed up almost 300 points at this point. Or maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit. It's 232. So about 250 points, price is pushed up with no real retracement, right? Price just been climbing and climbing and climbing. The thing with this here is like, I don't want to base it off technicals, but common sense tells me that, okay, price needs to turn around at some point or it needs to slow down at least. So I'm going to wait over here and kind of just wait for this here to, if it starts to slow down here, that's fine. That's actually what I want to see. So what I'd like to see here actually is maybe a retracement and then continuation back up, right? I like to see that basically an inverted head and shoulders, or I want to see price kind of just go up and stay flat and then push up from there, right? Distribution, consolidation, distribution. But we'll see. I mean, I'm not in a rush. If I don't get into those entries, I still have entries right here at 7 o'clock. So, I mean, I don't need to get in at 6. Although I would like to, of course, right? I'd like to get into these positions only if they come up well, though. Like if they come up and they look good, great. If they come up and they don't look super great, I'm not going to force it. No need to force any entries here. Like, we talked about, guys, it's all about quality, right? You want to take the quality entries here. Thanks, Smith. Yeah, so Smith said rising dagger. Yeah, so falling dagger, rising dagger. That makes sense. Talanji said got a discount, caught 40. Nice work, Talanji. So Talanji actually waited for it to kind of push up a little bit. So that 646 entry, he waited for it to push up a little bit. He got in right there, it looks like. And then it came all the way back down to where it's supposed to go. Nice work, Talanji, on catching that right there. Not a trade I was looking to take, but yeah. It was there. Okay, so we have the retracement right here. What I would like to see here before 754 or 753 is I'd like to see another buy signal come up. So we do have the retracement. Now what I'd like to see is price to flatten out, come right back up, and go further from there. That's going to be the direction that we're looking for. We got one inch right here coming up at 646. So let me change the statistics over here. Or wait, are the numbers wrong? No, sorry. 653. So at 653, we have, and let me change the settings here because this is with momentum. All right, here are the statistics for this. We have a 58.82 probability of it winning for a buy or a sell. It doesn't matter which direction. It's won 10 out of the previous 17 entries. So the overall is not super great. But where it comes into play, where it's actually great, is going to be with the buys here. So you can see it has a 75% probability of it winning for buys. It won 6 out of the previous 8 entries. This is looking good right here. So right here we have a buy signal, which is currently pending. If that buy signal closes, I'll be looking for possible entry right here at 653. I mean, either 653 or 654. It's either way we're going to be looking for. It's going to be a buy entry for both times. But again, we need that buy signal there to close first. If the buy signal doesn't close, then we're just not really going to have an opportunity here to take the buy entry. So this one here has a pending buy signal. It's not closed yet. We only have one candle before that or after that for it to close. But it's doing pretty much what I was anticipating, right? So I mentioned I wanted to see some sort of retracement and then continuation back up. Or I wanted price to kind of come up, consolidate for a little bit, and then shoot back up higher. So either way, it meets the criteria that I'm looking for. All right, looks like we're gonna have an entry here. Looks like we may have an entry here for a buy at 653. I'm gonna follow the candles here to kind of see how they're moving. If the candles here don't really look like they're gonna push up higher, I mean, like, you got to see how that actual 653 candle looks like. Then I'll kind of wait until it's 654, but we'll see. Entry is not gonna happen here yet. It's gonna happen after another minute, so just gotta wait and see. The only downside here is that it's only one of the three recent Wednesdays, so it's not like, a super, super great entry, but still meets criteria, of course. So I'm waiting for this candle here to close. Entry is going to happen on the next one, 53 candle. All right, we are at the 53 candle. I'm going to wait to see how this candle here closes. Ideally, I'd like to close at least a little green. I don't want it to close too big though. So if it closes too big, I might wait for the next one because there might be a retracement after it. So I'd like it to close green, but not like super, super big. Watching right now, it's at 38 seconds. We got some time here. We got 20 seconds. Again, it's going to be a buy entry. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. All right, it's going to close in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Order submitted. Or
Let's see what the entries are. 34. All right, I gotta fix a couple settings over here real quick. Make sure everything here is
order
good.
failed.
40. Probably sell at 1 point. And this can be at 80. Okay, so I gotta write down a couple of things here real quick. Couple account errors. 115 8473 and 1300234. Okay, I'll get that figured out later. Couple errors with a couple hedge accounts. Not too many, but it's a couple errors right there. All right, so like I said, if this trade hits, great. If it doesn't hit, that's fine. We went off the probabilities. Probabilities here provided for, yeah, I mean, decent probabilities there. Had a couple issues with a couple accounts, so I got stopped out on that one. It's perfectly fine. We'll now be looking for the next entry here. I'm gonna be looking for one more here. The market here kind of flattened out a little bit, so small loss there for a 1 to 2. So for this week so far, we are currently at, what are we at? We're at 1R. Yeah, because we won a trade yesterday and then we lost a trade today. We're doing a 1 to 2. So 1R loss for today. 654, this one over here also didn't play through. Next entry is going to be at, let's see, 7 o'clock. Okay. So here's the thing. The next trade over here at 7 o'clock, if this one hits, then we could we could recoup that loss and then make profit on top of it. So unfortunately, took a loss right there. It happens. Like I said, we'll never be 100% with the entries, but the probabilities were there. So let's move on to the next trade here. It looks like both of them wouldn't have played out because they followed each other. And I'll be looking for the next setup right here at 7 o'clock. So yeah, a couple issues with some accounts here. Let me see which ones had the issues for today. So Lila, looks like Lila and Brett. I'll send you guys an email after this, but it looks like your guys' accounts didn't execute. I'm gonna turn your accounts off right now, actually, so it doesn't try to take another trade. So Brett and Lila 234. All right, we're good. I'm actually going to turn your guys' off so it doesn't get in the way. And Lila. Yeah, this is like the downside when I'm trading a lot of accounts because whenever I have an error, I have to pinpoint which ones are giving the error because it might cause issues for the rest of the accounts. Okay, we're good. All right, so I'm looking for the next entry over here at 7 o'clock. It's 6:57 right now. Let me put those numbers into the statistics. So the good thing is that once we move to the institutional broker StoneX, it's going to come out in block order, so I don't have to. I mean, it shouldn't have any errors like it does with Ninja. The problem with Ninja is that I execute on. I have to execute every trade individually, so there's obviously going to be issues here and there, and also the I just have too many accounts. So I'm trying to scan the accounts to make sure everything is good. But I have like 80 accounts here that I have to like kind of look over. All right, so we are now looking for the next entry here at 7 o'clock. The entry is going to be with momentum. So we still have bullish momentum there. It looks like we got caught here in the chop, right? So price here basically pulled back and it's kind of chopping back and forth. Like I mentioned before, when I enter my positions, we have a slight push right there, right? So we entered the position right there. It pushed up a little bit, but we just didn't have that follow through like we did yesterday. Oh, we have news at 7 o'clock. Thanks, Patricia. Yes, we have new home sales, I believe, or pending home sales at 7 o'clock. Not going to take the 7 o'clock entry then if that's the case. I mean, we'll see how price reacts to it. But if we're probably just going to sit out of it, honestly. I don't think it's worth the risk. Yeah. All right, so no trade for me at 7 o'clock. It's okay. We have a couple of other opportunities here. We have one at 7:02. This one actually has a better probability. If that sell signal there closes, then it's gonna be a sell entry. But if it doesn't close, it's gonna be a buy entry. See, it's got a few seconds and it did not close. So if you guys are looking to take this entry right here at 7 o'clock, it is going to be a buy entry, guys. It's gonna be a buy entry there. And it looks like as soon as we got into our entry right there, we went into this chop. This is usually what I try to avoid, right? Whenever we get into a position. The thing is, like the chop just started as soon as we got into that position right there. If I saw this happening before the entry, I would have just obviously skipped it. Because like I mentioned before, we don't want to trade in a chop here because our stop loss is so tight, right? It's a 20-point stop loss. So with that being the case, any drawdown, any pullback, any retracement could easily stop us out. So we typically want to go with momentum where it kind of just shoots right through. So for example, this entry over here, we wanted that to go with momentum, of course, so that we can just, obviously shoot right through. All right. All right, so the entry right here looks like so it's currently running right now. It's a buy position. You can see the long right there. The 7 o'clock entry actually looks pretty good. It's about to hit target. So I was actually looking to take this position here. The reason why I skipped out on it was because there was news happening at 7 o'clock, unfortunately. This would have been a nice trade because this would have recouped our loss from this one, and then we would have had profit on top of it. Um, it was actually negative news though. So it was forecasted to be 1.6. It was forecasted to be 2.9 for year over year. It was actually 0% for month over month and negative 0.9 for year over year. Hasn't hit yet, but it looks like it's going to. So this is the follow-up entry at 702 actually. I'm gonna hold off on it. I'm not gonna get into this one, guys. I'm just gonna wait for the next one. Like we talked about earlier, we have news that just came out right here, so price can be manipulated based off the news because the news was negative. So I don't want to get in for a buy and then price ends up turning around over here like it's turning around right now. Yeah, but this is supposed to be another buy entry for the 702 because I got two of them right here. I got 7 o'clock and then 702. But because news is happening, possible manipulation there, which looks like the case, right? Looks like price here is definitely manipulating a little bit. Not in this position. Still running. All right, so here's the 702 entry. So the 7 o'clock one is still running, or it looks like that one's done with. Let's go to the 702 now. This is the 702. Actually, okay, so this is this is tricky because so the 7 o'clock entry was a buy because the signal came up here. The 702 is actually a sell because it's with momentum. Thing is, I was looking for a buy for both of them though. So you can see over here, aim for buys for both 7 o'clock and 702. So I mean, even if it came up, I wouldn't have taken it because it doesn't go in my direction. The probabilities for the 702 entry is, let's see. Yeah, the probabilities for the 702 entry is still pretty strong for a buy here. It's 87.50% versus 44%. It's not horrible, but obviously I'd go with the number that's higher. So not in this position right here. If I would have taken it, it would have been for a buy. Next entry is at 721. This one's going to be against momentum for a sell. Yeah, let's see. Masij had been trading ES with a 4-point stop loss, which is high for ES with the algo. It's much more forgiving. Been working great the past 3 days. Yeah, if the volatility stays high, then I'll just adjust the stop loss a little bit wider. Right now we're doing 20-40 or a 40-20. So if that's the case, then we might flip it to 25-50 or I mean 30-60. It just the volatility is just not like that. It's high, but it's not that high. Right now it's currently at 30, so it's kind of okay still. But if it goes up to like, 35, 40, something like that, then of course we'll increase it a little bit. But right now I think this is temporary. This is because of the big candles that happened over here, right? Yeah, these big candles that kind of popped up around here. And then of course it messed with the ATR a little bit. So, all right, I've only taken one entry for the day, guys, which is this one right here. Took a small loss. Yeah, just small loss on that one. And we're going to be waiting for the next one, of course, which is going to be at 721. So we got a lot of time here. We're kind of getting, we're just going to be hanging around for a bit until, until we get to that. So for the most part, it's got to sit tight for a bit, guys. All right. Trying to see what's going to happen here. So right here at 721, so I'm just trying to not predict, but I'm trying to see like what kind of market structure or what kind of direction am I looking for this year to come up. We're still pretty far out, so I can't really tell, but this is going to be against momentum. So I'm just playing out scenarios in my head, looking at the chart over here. Let me go back to 721. So with this right here, this is against. All right, so 721, it has a 64.71 probability of it winning for either direction, buy or sell. It's won 11 out of the previous 17 entries. For buys here, it has a 55.56 probability of it winning. It won 5 out of the previous 9 entries. And over here for sells, it has a 75% probability of it winning, where it won 6 out of the previous 8 entries. So obviously the sells are going to be what we're looking for. So in order for us to have a sell here at 721 is I need price to actually push up. So I need it to push up from here, flatten out, and then possibly come back down. That's going to be the direction there. Let's see, question from Mendez. Mendez is asking, why is it a buy if it is with momentum? Let's see, for the 702. Yeah, no, so the 702 is actually a sell, you're right, because the signal came up prior. So that's why I was saying like those two entries were running opposite of each other. I think it still would have lost because of the choppiness here, but I mean if it was able to survive the move, I don't think it did survive the move, but if it did, it obviously came back down further. Yeah, it didn't survive the move because the market was too choppy right here. See how price kind of pushed up really quickly. Pushed up quickly, then it came right back down to where it was supposed to go. But yeah, 702 was with momentum, and because there was a sell momentum here, um, it was a sell. 7 o'clock was a buy, but the 702 was a sell. Let me measure these candles here. See, this is a problem. Look at this candle. It's a 42-point candle. So like I mentioned over here too, like with our previous entry, um, we try to push price up. You can see price did push up a little bit when I entered, but then it wasn't enough to hold. Like I said, I'm only putting in like maybe 100 to 200 contracts per entry. So we're able to push price maybe, 1 to 3 points. If you look over here, we did push price up a little bit, but it wasn't enough for us to keep pushing higher because there wasn't enough buyers behind us. This is what I was a little worried about, right? So we talked about this earlier. I said price was looking a little bit overextended from this point and I was kind of worried to take a buy there. However, the buy here did look good. Just because price is overextended doesn't mean it's necessarily done. But going back and just measuring it from this lower point, it was up about 266 points. So obviously very overextended. And in order to get to our target, it'd be closer to 300. So maybe I should have went with my gut on that one, but there's no telling exactly what could have happened there. Plus the numbers here I mean, they look pretty decent overall. Yeah, it was 75% for 653 and then 85.71 for 654. So for the times over here, let me see, I still have this at 721. Again, what I'm looking for here is because I'm looking for a sell, I want price to actually push back up higher. So I want price and I would like this buy signal to come up. So I like it to come down, flatten out a little bit, come up slightly, and then come right back down. Because I'm looking for a sell right there at 721. And this is the reality of trading, right? Reality of trading is like you're not always going to be 100% with your entries. Thing is, you could lean the favor in your on your side, but you just have to, you got to take the entries that have the higher probability. So again, we're waiting for 721 here. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. Yeah, Samson market at all-time highs, so uncharted territory. I agree. It's so that's the thing that I don't like about it being at all-time highs that, we've never been here before. So there's no market structure to kind of base it off. We don't know where the ceiling's at. We don't know where price is going to turn. It's just whatever happens, happens. And the thing is, like, even though we're at all-time highs, price can just keep pushing up higher and higher and higher. All right, price is still dropping, which is perfectly fine. I just need, like, as we get closer to 721, I want price to turn around at least a little bit. Push up, flatten out, and then come back down lower. Ideally, that's what I'm looking for. If I don't get into that position, I'll look for the 751. But that's just going to take even more time. So there's nothing for us to really get into right now. I'm kind of just waiting for our opportunity here to come back up and get into something here that will hopefully bring us back. So again, for this week so far, guys, we have one win and one loss. The win yesterday was for a 2R. The loss for today was for a 1R. So still in profit for the week. Um, yeah, still in profit for the week. Just need to bounce back on this next entry. So yeah, the next entry will recoup the loss and then will give us profit on top. That's a good thing with doing a 1 to 2. So what I've started to realize and what I've started to see over, the past couple months, guys, is I think 1 to 2 is probably like the best balance for risk to reward, right? Before we used to trade a 1 to 1, sometimes we trade like a negative. Those are good and your win rate will be super high, but one mistake could really turn you into it could throw you into like a really downward spiral for your account. So the uh the better option is a 1 to 2 because if you do a 1 to 2, you just need a 33.33% probability of your wins to hit, or basically a win rate. You just need a win rate of 33.33 to be profitable. So it's a lot nicer having that kind of in play versus having to have like a 60% or like a 70%. If you're doing a 1 to 1, you need at least above a 50. But your drawdown periods could be very, very like you go on for a while. And then for a negative risk reward, you would have to have like above a 75%, which is very difficult, because obviously there's going to be days where you're just not following your trading plan or you revenge trade or you overtrade, and you could dig a really, really deep hole for yourself. So I found like 1 to 2s to be more of a good balance. 1 to 3s are good too, but I'm not willing to lose that many times with trading. Yeah, if you lose a lot like that, it takes a toll on your psychology. So for me personally, I don't think I can do anything more than a 1 to 2. So again, let's take a look at the overall trend. Overall trend over here, it's still pretty bullish. The only one that's kind of shifting a little bit is the 1 minute. So you can see the 1 minute over here is currently below the pivots. So it's below the pivots. The trend meter is currently blue and price is going sideways. Looking over here on the 5 minute, price is currently above the pivots. Trend meter is green, pivots are angling up. Same with the 15, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour. So with that being the case, we have more of a bullish neutral trend right now. First 1 minute time frame is turning bearish, but everything else is still pretty bullish. Now looking over here at market structure, you can see that price is retesting the imbalance right there, right? So we have a resistance up here. If you guys are looking at the technicals. So we have a resistance right here. We have price kind of just sitting down this middle area. So yeah, price is currently sitting here right now. And we are just waiting at this point. All right, we're getting closer to 721. Like I said earlier, guys, I need this to push up a little bit. So I'd like to see here a buy signal come up. Once that buy signal comes up, I'm gonna look for it to kind of push up a little higher. And then from there, I'm gonna look for it to come down. So I need this buy signal here to close. Once it closes, I need price to kind of push up a little bit. And then I'll look for it to turn right back down. But we do need that buy signal. If the buy signal doesn't come up, then we got nothing else here to look at the moment. So the main thing is really waiting for that there to close with the buy signal. All right, just waiting for that buy signal. Still no buy signal there. All right, looks like market here is kind of for the most part flattened out. All right, it's looking like market is here starting to flatten out. So I don't know if I'll get an entry right here at 721, guys. If anything, I might have to wait until 751. Um, Yeah, unless a buy signal comes up on this specific candle, there's not going to be an entry because so looking at my entry over here at 721, it's going to be against momentum. It has a 64.71 probability of it winning overall for a 1 to 2. It has my target entry for a sell here has a 75% probability. You can see over here it's 1/6 out of the 8 entries for sells. And so I'm looking for a sell here, right? The problem with this is that there's not going to be a sell entry here because there's a sell momentum already there. So in order for us to have it with against momentum, we need to have a buy signal here come up, which it hasn't came up. So unfortunately, it looks like the entry here at 721 is going to be a buy. The buy entry is not a horrible entry though. So it's not great, but it's not horrible, right? It's a 55.56. If you're willing to take those odds, I mean, this can be an entry for you to take. This is going to be a buy entry. But I'm not willing to take those odds, right? I don't really want to have a 55% probability of it winning. I want a 75% probability. So I'm gonna sit out of this entry. The next one that's gonna come up is at 751. So we got a lot of time until then. If you guys have any questions, this is a good time to ask questions. I think, where is it? I think Nedra, if you're here, I'm not sure if you're on here right now, but I know you had a question. If you want to ask, I can answer for you. But there's nothing for me to take here, unfortunately. If you guys want to take the entry again, guys, entry is going to be a buy right here. Entry is going to be a buy right here for the 721 candle. It doesn't meet my criteria though, so I'm not taking it. I was looking for a sell. CJ said it's still stuck on the sessions. Yeah, it's kind of just sitting there right now. It's just consolidating around this middle area. There's not too much going on. All right, price is pushing up. It looks like that entry is actually playing through. Um, yeah, it looks like that entry is playing through. Let me go back real quick and I'll take a look for you guys. It's pushing up, so it's looking good for the most part. All right, there goes the entry right there. You can see the long position that opened up right here. So the entry right there was for a buy. It's on its way up. It's not there yet, but it's on its way up. So yeah, I was looking for a sell here because the sell didn't come up. I didn't take it, but the buy here is running and it's pushing through. So like I said, you're never going to be 100%, but the thing is I wasn't willing to take these odds here for a 55,
connector lock.
56 probability for a buy there, but it looks like it's going to hit. Yep. So a few points away on its way to target right there. It's almost there. It's going to hit. It's just a matter of time until it does. How many points? It was off by like 1 point, but it's going to push through. I think it's just gonna take some time for it to actually blast right through, and I think it's going to shoot right through it. Um, there we go. So if you guys took that, nice work. If you guys didn't take it, it is completely fine on that one. Let's see. Masij said just hit TP on a big move to the downside on ES. Great move. ES is so consistent. The algo catches great trades. Nice. Okay, great. So looks like Masij there got in. Talanji actually got into this position too. He got in for a little discount. So nice work on that. Talanji hit his full TP for 40 points. There you go. Full TP right there. And Rashida caught it as well. So nice work, guys, on catching this trade. I wished I could have taken this trade, but it just did not meet my criteria, right? This would have been perfect because if I did take it right there, it would have recouped this loss. Like I said, we're doing a 1 to 2. So if we have a win, it recoups the loss, plus we have profit on top of it, right? So I just need one win. I need one win to kind of balance me back from this earlier trade. But yeah, just looking at this here, guys, 2 trades for the day, which came up. Obviously, this one wasn't one that I took. I only took the first one, but this one over here did hit for a full TP 40 points. Looks like CJ got it, Rashida got it, and Solange got it. So solid work there, guys. And Masij took a trade applying the algo themselves on ES. So all right, let's see what we got here next. I'm waiting for the next trade here to come up. Next trade is at 7:51. We got some downtime here. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, Sam said nice algo entry though. Sniper. Yeah, it was pretty spot on. Little to no drawdown right there. Literally went straight up. Rashida, I know Nedra's your friend, right? Nedra had a question, but I'm not sure if she's on here because I don't know if her username is different. If she is on here, I guess you can ask her if she wants to, because she had a question. She wanted to meet up through Zoom, but the times just didn't work out. I'm not sure if she ever comes on these live sessions, but yeah, I'd like to answer her question if she was here. Or let me see. I'm gonna go and check her question real quick. Maybe I could just answer it and then she could rewatch this live stream later. Let me see, Nedra. See what her question was. Okay, so she said she's confused on how you prep. Yeah, I don't think she comes on these live sessions, but she said. Still confused on how you prep and still getting a little turned around on the time zones. Okay, so let's see, it's 7:20. We have some downtime right here. So I'm just gonna do a quick explanation of this so that I can answer Nedra's question, and then I'm gonna send her the video. Let's see, 7:28. Okay, so let me just answer that question real quick. So basically, Nedra's question is understanding the times. So depending on where you guys are located, I'm on Pacific time, and the internal clock here, because this is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, is based on the Central time. So depending on where you guys are located, for me, it's a 2 hour difference. In order for you guys to figure out like what the time difference is really is, just put in a time here. So for example, 9:21, right? So you could put in a random time. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It might be easier to put a whole number. So instead of putting 9:21, just put 10. And that's going to be 8 o'clock for me. But if you want to compare it to your guys' time zone, um, or let me change it to an earlier time because you want to see the markup on the chart. So we'll just put 900 here just to have a markup on the chart. So with that being the case, Nedra or whoever else has a problem understanding the time zone, you could just go to wherever it shows the entry, which is going to be right here, right? This is where the short entry came up from. And you can see here that on my time zone, it shows 7 o'clock. So that's how I know the difference. It's a 2 hour difference because the settings over here show 9 o'clock, but um, my actual chart over here shows 7. So that's a 2 hour difference. So depending on where you guys are located, if you guys are confused about what the time zones are like when using the algo, just set a random time. I would recommend using a whole number like 900 or 800 or 700, and then just compare it to what it shows up on your chart. So right here, again, I put 900, but on my chart it says 700 or 7 o'clock. So I know that it's a 2 hour difference. That's how you would figure out what the time zone is. Next question from Nedra is she's confused on how I prep. So the way that I prep, and there's different ways of doing it, but this is how I prep for the most part. It's different for me now than how I did before. But what I did before is I used to use a screener here. You go to your indicators, go to invite only scripts, I have to turn this one off first, or I'll turn it on. So invite only scripts, Cody Kai momentum algorithm, we turn that on. I'm gonna turn this one off so they don't uh they don't overlap. So the way that I would prep, and again, everybody's different with how they prep their algo. The original video was a little better in explaining how to prep it, from scratch, but it's updating right now. So you can see over here it says updating. You go to your settings over here. You change momentum time frame. You can leave it at chart, but I like having it at 1 because that's the time frame I trade on. You would set your targets over here. Typically for YM, I use 40/20. Um, Next, you would go and you set off your screener settings. Typically, I like going between my trading time. So I trade between 6 and 8 o'clock. So like I said, it's a 2 hour difference. So I put 800 right here until 1000 because this is going to be 6 to 8 o'clock. Once you have that set up right there, the screener is going to come up on the chart. As you can see, it's still updating right now. And there you go. So the way that I do this is I look down to see which ones here have the highest probability, and then I mark them up on my notepad or whatever documentation that you guys use to mark it up on. I just use a notepad. I'm on a Mac, so it's like the easy thing to kind of put data on. You can put it on an Excel sheet. You guys have seen other people in the group like Constantine. He actually see. Yeah, so he puts it on an Excel sheet. It's just up to preference. If you guys want to put it on a spreadsheet, you guys can do that. I'm probably going to move over to a spreadsheet because it's a lot cleaner, but I just put it on a notepad for the most part. Basically, I'll identify the entries that come up here. Like, for example, this has a 61.1%. What I'll do there is I'll go to my settings, and then I'll put in that time. So the time was like 9:02, I believe. Man, I'm getting like these connection loss that are pretty bad. Okay, anyways, so like, yeah, we looked over here 9:02. I'll set those times up. Yeah, it just sounded like my Ninja Trader glitched like really bad. But then once I have that set up right there, it's going to update my reports and then I'll pull the data from here from whatever I'm looking for. So this is with momentum. I have it with momentum. I set up my times there to identify whatever win rate it is and stuff like that. And then this here will update and then I'll pretty much mark up the time. So I'll put 7:02 here. I'll put the direction, which is with. I'll put the probability, which is 61.11 after the trade from today. And then I'll put the probabilities for buys, probability for sells, whichever one's higher. And I'll track the most recent wins. So I'll look at the historical data, list of trades here. The previous, what's today? Wednesday was October 22nd, 15th, and 8th. So I'll look over here to the 15th or 22nd first. You can see it was a loss. So I'll count that as a loss. And then I'll go over to the 15th here. This one won, so I'll count that as a win. And then I'll go down to the 8th over here, which was also a win. So I count that there right there as a win. So like with that being the case here, you can see that I have the statistics where actually I don't even have it on my chart, or actually I do, where I put 2 out of the 3 recent Wednesdays. So that's pretty much my setup. That's what I do for every single trade. The thing is, I don't really use this anymore, the screener. What I do now is I just go down every single minute. So I'll start at like 800 and I'll literally go like down each minute. I'll go from 800, I'll do with momentum, against momentum, and I check the probabilities. And then from there, I do it for basically 2 hours of time. So I'll go from 800, 801, 802, 803, 804, 805, etc. And then we go down to 900, 901, 902, 903, 904. And that's how I get all of the probabilities for each trade. But it just kind of depends on like how you want to do it. For me personally, it makes more sense for me to do it that way so that I'm more aware of like every single minute versus the screener here. But everybody's different, right? Some people want to do more work, some people want to do less work. For me personally, I prefer to do more so that I can really understand like what's happening throughout the entire day. So yeah, that's the process right there. So I think those are all the questions from Nedra. I don't know if there's anything else. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, guys, feel free to put your questions in the chat, but that's kind of my process of looking for entries. Well, I mean, without the screener, I just do it one by one now. So I'm going to take that off and we are good to go. So, all right, guys, no entries here until 7:51. So I'm pretty much just waiting until 7:51 here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I'll answer whatever questions you guys have. But there's really nothing to take here right now. Let's see what else we got here. So I got a question over here in the Discord, guys, from Len. Len is asking a question. I'm on a live account. How much should I start with my own money? So, we get this question a lot, not necessarily from Len, but from people in general. Like, guys, when you guys are trading a live account, use as much as you're willing to lose, right? Because the market's not always going to be in your favor. So if you're okay with losing a couple thousand bucks, then use a couple thousand bucks. If you're okay with losing 10,000 bucks, start with 10,000. It's just really up to your preference. The main thing is that you would need to have enough to cover margin though. So depending on your broker, it just depends on how much it is, how much it costs per per trade. So like for example, if you're trading on NinjaTrader, I think the margin is 500. So if you want to take one contract, you need to have at least 500 bare minimum. So you probably want to have about 1,000 at least or two. And then you just kind of go up from there. So yeah, if you guys are wondering how much to start with, the answer is always going to be how much you're willing to lose. Because when you guys are trading, you shouldn't be trading on your last dollar, right? When you guys are trading, understand that the market isn't always going to work in your favor. So you want to make sure that you make the right decision. You only trade money that you're okay with risking or losing or whatever it may be. So yeah. All right. We're waiting for 7:51, guys. We still got some time here. 7:38. So we got 13 minutes of just hanging out basically until it comes up. All right. All right, guys, let's see. We got about 10 minutes until the 7:51 entry. So again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Market is kind of slow right now. The volatility is kind of not really there, but I'm still looking for opportunity here for entry. So what I'd like to see here is because I'm looking for a possible sell, right? So what I'd like to see here is I would like to have price kind of, I mean, there's two things that may happen here. Price could either range within this area and then start to really come down. Or the other thing that I would like to see is price kind of range back up. And then, because so we could get another buy signal here. The thing is, we just want to have a sell signal right before the entry. So we have buy signal here, sell signal, buy signal. I would like to see a sell signal come up from around this area and then come down lower like that. That is what I would like to see ideally. So looking at our stats for this week so far, guys, I pretty much I only took one trade, so the loss is going to be half of this right here. But yeah, we haven't had a loss in like 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks. So I was just looking back at the data. I mean that the loss was bound to happen eventually, right? It was bound to happen because we've been on such a hot streak lately. Um, Yeah, I was just talking to Sam about it right now. Yeah, he was basically saying like, don't sweat the loss because we've been on a crazy streak, so like losses are bound to happen. And yeah, he's right. We've had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12 green days and only 2 red days for this month. It's pretty spot on with the criteria here. I mean, that's pretty good. We were on a pretty hot streak. I mean, there weren't that many entries from last week, but still, we were able to avoid a lot of unnecessary trades. So, yeah, I'm not sweating at all, guys. I'm trading a 1 to 2, so I'm hoping we get a win over here at this 751. So if we get that, we can recoup the loss from the last trade. That's all we really need, right? Because it's a 1 to 2. I wish I would have taken this trade here at 721, but the thing is, it just didn't go in our direction. Plus, the trade at 7 o'clock, there was news, so it just wasn't a trade worth taking. All right, looks like we're gonna hang out again for a little bit. 743. So we're getting closer to 751. So here's the problem, guys. I don't want this to go sideways, right? I want this to actually start moving. If like price doesn't start moving out of this area within the next 5 to 10 minutes, then I might just sit out the next trade. I'm okay with just eating one loss today than eating two, right? I'd rather just have one. So, like we mentioned before, the problem with this trading in a market where it's not really moving is that we get caught in the chop, right? Kind of like what happened with our entry over here. You kind of get caught in the chop, and the problem is our stop loss is so tight. So I'm going to be looking for a sell here at 751. The problem is that our stop loss is so tight that if we end up in this chop here, like say for example, price chops back and forth, it's easy for it to stop us out before it comes down on profit. That's why I'm being a little cautious about the entry here, and I'm hoping that the volatility picks up because if it doesn't pick up, I don't want to get caught in that type of movement. The good thing here, it looks like the volatility is starting to pick up a little bit. So if that's the case, great. I would like price to kind of make it down below this point here. So I'd like to see price get below this point here. We got time though. We have about like 6 minutes until the entry, so I will be waiting. Let's take a look at our main chart. So price is really respecting the imbalance right here, right? I drew this imbalance like way earlier. This imbalance actually turned into a support level in a sense. Here, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna draw the support instead of the imbalance because balance is kind of irrelevant now. All right. So we got that right there. That's now the support level. There was a smaller imbalance right here. I'll take that off. We have an imbalance right here. All right, so this is kind of where price is ranging from right now. It's ranging between this imbalance and the support level. It's basically been chopping within this area for a while. So what I'd like to see here is I'd like price to actually break below this support level and continue dropping from that point. Opening price is right here. All right, so the volatility is starting to pick up a little bit. You can see from this red candle, it's a pretty strong red candle. But again, like I said, I want price to kind of come below this point here. I would like it to break below so that we have some volatility behind it. It is 7:46 right now. 7:46. So we got some time. Let me go back to that entry for today. So that entry is going to be at 7:51. It's with momentum. All right, so looking at the stats right here, overall probability is 52, and I'll do the math here. So 52.94 plus for a sell, it's 83.33. That's 136.27 divided by 200. It has a 68.1% 1% probability of it 68.1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% 1% of it winning right here. So the sell entry right here at 751, it has a 68.1 probability of it winning. Max is asking if I look for SMT. No, I've never looked for SMT ever. I don't trade ICT. Yeah, I don't even trade technicals at all anymore. So, um, yeah. Well, before when I was trading technicals, I never looked for SMT, but I don't even look at technicals at all anymore. So no, it's I hear it a lot. So I know a lot of people use it. A lot of people, it's a common thing, but for me, I just never used it unless it's called something else, right? That's the thing that I don't like about like the ICT concepts or whatever, is he kind of just renames everything something different. Like I mentioned over here, imbalances. These are just imbalances, but people call it fair value gaps or inverse fair value gaps, and realistically, it's just an imbalance. But yeah, I feel like ICT kind of made everything complicated by creating his own names for a lot of stuff. So yeah, unless SMT stands for something else, or if there's another name for it, like a more common name in the trading world, then maybe I've used it before, or maybe it was something I looked for, but that specific term, I've never used it before. I know of it and I've heard of it, but I've never looked for it myself. All right, so let's see. Yeah, Stern said, isn't that just smart money concept? Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's basically smart money concept, um, which is basically what ICT kind of is based off of, right? Yeah. There's so many different names for like these trading terms that like I don't know what they're called anymore. There's just too many names. I just call them what it is. Like if I see an imbalance, I call it an imbalance. But some people will call it a fair value gap or an inverse fair value gap. Some people like to call things like special divergences, and to me, it's just a regular divergence. Or like, some people will call things like order blocks or supply and demand, and I just see them as support and resistance. So I try to keep things as simple as possible. I don't like to use more complicated names. I know they're not always gonna be the same thing or line up as the same thing, but for the most part, I just keep it to whatever basic name I see it as. Sam said Sean trade Venom, Silver Bullet, Turtle Suit. I'm familiar with those. Yeah, I'm familiar with those. Even though I don't trade them, but yeah, I'm familiar with those. All right, guys. So we have the possible entry coming up right here for the sell guys at 751. Price breaking past that area right there. So I was looking for price to just get a little bit lower. It did. Going to see what happens here when we get to this next candle. So it depends on how the volatility momentum's looking here at 751. If it's good, I'll take it. If it's not, then I'll price it out of it. One thing that I don't like is this big wick right here, right? So I'm going to look at the actual entry candle. If it has a big wick, I'm probably going to sit out of it. But I'll kind of see how this here ends up closing. Yeah, I'll see how it ends up closing. All right, so we got the entry right here at 751. I'm watching it right here. Ideally, I'd like it to close red to some extent. I don't want to go against momentum, of course. It doesn't have to close red, but I'm going to be following the momentum on this specific candle here. So this candle is looking really strong for a green candle. So I don't know if I'll be taking this entry here, guys. I think I might just be sitting out of this one personally. I will probably be sitting out of this one here. Like I said, I don't want to be going against momentum. This is a with momentum trade, and the candle momentum is going up, but the signal here is for a sell. So if you guys want to take it, this candle is closing in about 5 seconds. There you go. So the entry is now currently running. This is for a short position. You can see the short positioning right there. Like I said, I didn't want to go against momentum, right? Because this is for a sell. And the thing is, market here was pretty choppy. So that's again why I decided to stay out of it. See prices going back and forth within this area. So I'm not in this position. We're just following it. It looks like I'm pretty much done for the day for the most part. My entries didn't really come up as I would have wanted it to, which is fine. There's going to be days like this where market's choppy. It's part of the market. Obviously, I would like this trade to hit still, even though I'm not in it, but we'll follow it and we'll kind of see where it goes. This actually looks like it could probably come down pretty nicely because this was a big green candle. So if it retraces down at all, I think it'll have some follow through with it right there. So there's no need for me to hop into this here. I'll follow it for you guys, but again, it looks like I'm done for the day. Unfortunately, I'm going to take a loss for the day. I'm still up for the week though. So for this week so far, let me see if I could update my trader sync so I can show you guys. The key thing with trading guys or like with people who trade in general um is the transparency, right? Like if you're ever gonna follow anybody, like you got to understand that they can't win 100%. I mean, maybe they could, right? Maybe if they can foretell the future. If they're like if they are fortune tellers, maybe yeah, they can win every single trade out there. I mean, our win rate was pretty high, but obviously, I showed you that there are losses that happen, and that's just part of the market, right? You can't control the market. Um, you got to take the losses and you just got to move with them. So, for example, today I'm glad I skipped this trade because look at this trade now. This could have been another loss. So I pretty much skimped out on getting into this trade here, possibly losing. And I just took one loss for the day. So I'm updating my trader sync right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I just want to show you guys, the reality of trading that you're going to have losses here and there, but if you follow your trading plan as it's supposed to be followed, you should be perfectly fine. And I'll show you my current statistics for the week because I only lost 1 R on that trade, so I'm still in profit for the week. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, Max said SMT works for me, but not sure I agree with why people say it works. Same with the power of three. Yeah, exactly. So the reason why I don't like those types of strategies, Max, is not necessarily the strategy itself. It's because it's so subjective, right? Like the way you see it is completely different from other people, right? Like it might make perfect sense to you, but then you see someone else explain it and you're like, what? This doesn't make sense. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's why for me, I've moved away from discretionary strategies and I trade based off the probability. So everything that I do and everything that I take, it's based off the numbers, right? I have the numbers here in front of me. Like for example, the 751 entry, and the trade's still actually running right now. It's running in profit as we speak. So this trade over here had a 52.94% probability for both wins and for sells using a 1 to 2 risk to reward. It was a target entry for me because it did meet the criteria, and then it won 83.33% of these sells, and it won 3 out of the 3 recent Wednesdays. So this trade here, although it had a very high probability, I still use my discretion to sit out of the trade. Because the thing is, like, even though the numbers are right, or not right, but if the numbers are good, like for example, if you add the numbers together, it equals out to a 68.1% probability, right? So if you do the math on that, 68.1 minus 100, basically you have a 68.1 probability of it winning, but then you have a 31.9 probability of it losing, right? It's a good, you have a good edge there if you were to take this trade. The edge just isn't 100%, right? And that's what I'm trying to get across. So, like with your specific SMT strategy, unless you have the numbers that are going to show you exactly where it's going to land, then you're kind of taking a shot at in the dark, right? And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of technical trades or technical strategies is unless it's systematic where everybody sees the same thing every single time and there's no discrepancies, then it's really hard to identify if the strategy is actually profitable or not, unless you have the data for it. So for me, I have the data for it. That's why for me, I trust these entries and I take them when they come up. But for other discretional strategies, like for example, um, if you're trading supply and demand, or if you're trading support and resistance, like some people will take the bounce right? When it bounces off, like exactly. Some people will take the confirmation where price kind of bounces off it. Those both have their own respective probabilities. It just kind of depends on like what that person's using, right? Some people take the bounce, some people take the confirmation, some people take the fake out. They're all not wrong, but unless you have the numbers behind it, you're kind of taking a shot in the dark because you don't know what's the actual probability of it winning for bounces or for it to break through. I don't know if you were on this live session yesterday, Max, but I posted a video with in the chat with, let's see, where's his name? Yeah, so I posted this video in the chat over the weekend. And if you haven't seen it, I think this is a really good video for you to watch. It's by Larry Williams. He's a lot of you guys like to follow ICT, and he always talks about the Robbins Cup, right? This guy is the world record holder for the Robbins Cup. He had like 1,000 something%. Nobody's ever beaten his record. Like he even got investigated by the government, by the SEC, because they thought he was faking it. Um, and the thing is, it's funny because ICT always says that he's gonna beat this guy, and then ICT mentioned like he sent an email to this guy, like Larry Fink, like with all respect, I'm going to beat you or whatever at the Robbins Cup. And then they asked this guy, Larry Williams, like, oh, have you ever heard of ICT? And he's like, I've never heard of him and I've never seen an email. Because you guys know how ICT is kind of has like some mental issues, right? No, nothing wrong with it, but he does have some mental issues where he kind of makes up scenarios in his head, right? Like how he says he's the algorithm, he created the market, all this stuff, like it's all bullshit. Everyone knows that he did not create the market. He's not in control and he's not even profitable in realistic sense. But yeah, it's if you haven't seen this video, I posted it in the team chat. It's a really good video to watch because he talks about how the technicals are really random unless you have the numbers behind it. And this isn't to like shit on technicals. It's just you have to have the numbers behind it to actually have some sort of foundation. Like for example, for my entries over here, I can use these numbers as a foundation. Like for example, like we have a trade with momentum here. I'll use this as a foundation. And then once I have that probability that says that this trade could work in my favor, then I could add on technicals, right? So for example, here that trade would have been for a sell at 751. And I probably would have, skipped it because it doesn't have a bearish trend here or anything like that. So, but yeah, you can add technicals after you have probability, but you have to actually understand that the strategy actually works. And I think one of the biggest things that he covered in this interview is if you guys like to use Fibonacci, and I talked about this yesterday, Fibonacci is like one of the most used tools by a lot of people. This guy, Larry Williams, him and his team basically did a 7-year study on Fibonacci levels. They did a because a lot of people they say that the golden ratio, right? 0.618, they say that this is where price always pulls back to and it comes back down. The thing is they did a study on every single level here to see which one has a good probability like to be profitable long term. And basically what he did with this data is he said that none of them do. Like literally they did 7 years of testing of Fibonacci, and none of these levels have they're not actual profitable. Like you can get lucky because it comes to every level at some point. And that's where risk to reward comes into play, right? That's why you see a lot of people do like 1 to 5 or 1 to 6 risk reward because they need to lose a shit ton of times before they actually win. Um, and it makes sense. I mean, obviously that's just how it is. Like, that's how trading works. If you have a strategy that doesn't have a high probability, you can still be profitable, but you need to have a very, very wide risk to reward. But they basically did a study on every single level here, and none of them have a pattern, right? Like none of them win more than the other. They all kind of are equal in a sense. So just something to put into play. Uh, if you guys haven't watched, this is a really good interview, guys. Honestly, I think this is probably one of the best interviews I've watched trading wise. Because this guy's been trading for like 40 years or like 50 years. This guy's old. And he gives you the real deal, like the real, not some bullshit like tips about like, oh, use these chart patterns or whatever. Like it's crazy. If you watch it, you're gonna like second think technicals because he has like the actual data behind it. Like he's done studies that technicals are just noise. Especially on the 1 minute. If you're trading on like the 4 hour, then it's different, right? If you're trading on the higher time frames, the technicals here could make sense. But if you're trading on anything like below, well, anything below the higher time frames, it's pretty much noise for the most part. That's why for me, I trade off the probabilities and off the actual numbers. Like everything I do is scientific. Let's see, question from Max. Max said, does the algo form a daily bias? Do you input a daily bias? No. Again, so that's another thing there where you're putting discretion at play, right? What the algo does is it identifies entries with either direction. So like I'm looking at the probabilities for buy or sell. That's why I don't have a bias here. My bias, like where I have the direction here, is whatever has a higher probability, right? Like if I was to take this trade here, I'm not going to take something that has a 36 probability. Like that doesn't make any sense. I'm going to take the one that has a 71.43 probability. So yeah, I don't take trades off discretion here. I don't take direction off discretion. I do everything off the numbers. Whatever has a higher probability, that's what I aim for. And in order for me to even like think about taking a trade, it needs to have above a 65% probability of it winning. So you basically have to lean the probabilities in your favor for it to be a trade that you want to, that I want to take specifically. Sam said daily bias is what Trump says daily. Just kidding. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, Sam. Honestly, whatever Trump says, usually the market follows. But again, I don't trade news, so it's based off the numbers. Everything is scientific in a sense. But all right, guys, let me see if there's any other questions here. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hop into the chat. Let's see. Yeah, certain smart candle concepts. Ryan said, so close yet so far from passing my evals, but would rather have the perfect entry to finish these up. Yeah, same here, Ryan. It's the best decision. Asij said in the 951 trade with a 25.50 in profit right now. Hopefully your trade hit. Did it hit? Let me see. And we had this little spike up right here. It's tricky. So you can see here that price is chopping up, guys. This is not the type of market that you want to be trading in, right? We talked about this earlier. You want to be trading in a market that is moving directional. And right here, we're just kind of stuck in this chop where, it goes back and forth, back and forth. Nice. Okay, so Masij actually took a partial on it. So probably best decision there. Rev said, guess I dodged a bullet today because my ninja disconnected on the earlier trade. Ready to get back at it tomorrow. Thank you, Sean. Have a great day, everyone. Yeah. All right, Rev, we'll see you back here tomorrow. CJ said, whenever people use Fibonacci, the standard of trading it reminds me the opposite Rick and how he traded it. So here's the thing, the reason why Fibonacci looks good when people trade it is because they always put it up after the fact, right? Like it's kind of it's crazy how like this is what happens. I'm gonna show you how like YouTubers and Instagram people will scam you with the Fibonacci. They'll do this. They'll kind of line it up perfect, or they'll do something like this is it's crazy because people always do this to scam people, and it's like it's so annoying that people do that. So all right, we're gonna do this right here. So this is what people always do. They try to do this. They already know what's going to happen because it's after the fact. And I see people do this all the time. You guys got to understand, there's a replay button over here. So you see people, they'll replay like this, and then they'll say, oh, Fibonacci is going to drop down to the golden ratio, 0.68. So they're like, okay, they draw it like this right here, right? And they say, oh yeah, watch me, look at me, I'm a sniper. I'm a trade sniper. And they do this, and then they do this, and they do this, and then they record the video to show you that they did like a crazy move here. And then they block out this bottom part so that you can't see it, right? They'll put this to like 1, and then they'll let it run here. Check this out. So they block out this bottom part, and then they let the trade run like it's like actually running. It's like crazy. The scammers, they try to get so like, see how it's moving here? It looks like it's a real market. See, and if I just blocked out this lower part, you would think I'm live trading, right? You literally would think I'm live trading right now, but I'm not. This is how scammers get you guys online. Because you can cut out this lower part right here and just show your top screen. So it looks like I'm live trading right here. I'm like, oh yeah, I called this Fibonacci ratio right here. It's at the golden level. Let's speed it up a little bit. Let's go to like one. Let's speed it up a little more because I don't want to keep waiting over here. All right, let's speed it up. I'm like, oh yeah, we're live trading right here. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna snipe this entry or whatever. And I see this all the time on YouTube. And look, check this out. Look how this is happening right here. It's coming down, right? Oh, I'm gonna get a perfect entry. Oh yeah, sniper. I'm a Fibonacci sniper. Look at that. Boom. Full TP. Wow. Look at that, guys. Made $1 million on this trade. See how easy that was? This is how people scam you online, guys. Just oh, and now buy my course for $1,000, right? That's how people scam you trading Fibonacci. They try to teach you some bullshit strategy that that like it's crazy. I literally just did it in front of you, like, and it looks realistic, right? Like you're live trading, but you're not. Um, yeah. So if you guys ever like want to vet somebody, have them live trade, like actually live trade in front of you, not like some replay. Because I see a lot of people who say that they're live traders, but when you look at their YouTube or whatever, it's just a replay. So just make sure. I mean, you guys don't have to learn from me. I mean, you guys can't even learn from me if you wanted to. If you guys wanted to learn my strategy, I don't really teach at all because I'm focused on the hedge fund. So you guys wouldn't be able to learn from me even if you wanted to. But yeah, just be aware that stuff like that happens, and it's really easy for people to trick you to thinking that their strategy is like it's crazy good. But all right, guys, so that's about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I think this is it for the day. I don't really see too much here. Let me see if there's anything here that's missing. Yeah, Michael said he's impressed that Masij had the cojones to take the trade over there. But yeah, guys, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, I think this is gonna be it for the day. I took one loss for the day, okay? So we're gonna document that, of course. Let me just actually put that in my statistics. Let me drop this down. All right, so one trade for the day, unfortunately lost, but I'm still in profit for the week, so not a big deal here. And again, guys, this is part of the market, right? It's kind of what we deal with. What was my entry at? It was at 653. Yeah, 653. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Sorry, I forgot this whole time I was waiting for my Ninja Trader to update. I mean not Ninja Trader, my Trader Sync. I wanted to show you guys my stats for the week. Okay, here, I'll show you guys my stats. Before I get off. I just want to be transparent with you guys to show you that the market is not always going to work in your favor, but if you use proper risk management, you should be perfectly okay. So let me just unlink the double trades here. Okay, so here are my stats for the year so far, or not for the year, for the month. I said the year, not the, well, I'll show you the year too. But anyways, okay, I think this looks proper. All right, so here are my stats for the week so far, guys. So we took a win on Tuesday, and then I took a loss right here on Wednesday. I lost 32,420. Like I said, it's part of the game. I won on Tuesday, so I'm still in profit for the week. I'm currently at 12,640 for the week. For the month so far, currently at 414,840, and then for the year so far, I am currently up 1,000. 30, 1,030,495. So, this is just to show you guys that, as long as you stay consistent, stick to your trading plan, you should be perfectly fine. We're doing a 1 to 2. I don't know why the profit is so different here for some reason. Um, but whatever. I guess I got hit with some slippage. So I got hit with some slippage here. This should have been a little less, but it's okay. Or no, it actually looks fine. Or no, it should have been less. It should have been like closer to like 20. But it's okay. It happens. There's slippage there. So yeah, this is my loss for the day. This is my win from yesterday. These are my stats for the week so far. One win, one loss, but still in profit for the week overall. So yeah, that just goes to show that, it's part of the market. That's kind of how it is sometimes, and you just have to take the loss and move on to the next trading day. But I think I'm done for the day, guys. So if there's anything that you guys, let's see, Andrew's asking, I never opened any Tradeify accounts. Is it still a good prop firm? Yes. So Tradeify is good for for the uh for the straight to funded. That's what I would do. Just straight to funded. And let's see, CJ said, by the way, Sean, your algo still gave us two other entries that hit TP, so that's a win for you, especially considering the circumstances of the market. Even if the entries didn't align with your analysis, it's still pretty amazing. Anyways, keep being the GOAT, bro, while staying humble. It's admirable. Yeah, definitely, CJ. And I'm here to, keep pushing with you guys. So yeah, take this loss and then let's move on to the next trading day tomorrow to bounce back. So, all right, guys, that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord again. Here are my stats. I just want to show you guys to be transparent. I took a loss for the day. And as long as you have proper risk management and you understand how to follow your trading plan, you can still be profitable even with a loss. So, all right.